And I showed them to Chuck and to Jero, and they said, there's no way in the world we can't talk about this. So we're going to talk about it, but I want to see if you can't guess what this trial is. So this affects up to 90% of women globally. 90%. Affects up to 10% of men. Is not dependent on weight. It forms in the areas with the least circulation. It's talked about as an orange peel effect, or dimples or bumps in the skin. We are talking about a Renu 28 Cellulite trial. So you guys remember Dermatest? Just real briefly, we'll go through this pretty quick. Dermatest was founded in 1978. They are a global leader in research. They published numerous papers that have been reviewed by journals, and they're led by 3 practicing dermatologists. And of course, for our European friends, they are located in Münster, Germany. Torsten really likes that. And here's their English website if you'd like to go learn more about them. So what is this trial that we're going to talk about really briefly? So it's a 12-week period. Now, cellulite's not an easy thing to counteract. We're not trying to do things like put fillers in the skin or apply caffeine and get some inflammation. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to work with the body naturally to reduce what this is. And so they recommended a 3 to 5 month trial. But they said nobody really uses the product after 4 or 5 months. It's really hard for them to stay with the protocol. And so we agreed on a 12-week trial period. Okay, there's 30 female participants in this trial. So the data is good, data is significant. What are we looking at? We're looking at elasticity measurements. Do we increase elasticity in the buttocks and also in the thigh? We're also looking at something that's very unique. We're actually doing an ultrasound of the skin to see what happens with the fat inside of the dermis that presses up and causes cellulite. Of course, we have before and after images. And again, I want to reiterate, these results are only after 6 weeks. We're only halfway through. So what does that mean? These results that we're going to show today will not be published because the study's not done. The hope, of course, is they continue to improve, but you're not going to see a publication going out of this because of the results, of course, in the study aren't done. So when I was corresponding with one of the doctors who was working on this trial, the lead investigator, the email she sent this week said this: look, we were very skeptical about the product, the difficult areas of application you chose. Cellulite has been clinging to women for many years. We cannot expect that overwhelming results show within such a short time if the condition has lasted for so long. And this is Dr. Gary Schmiepe of Dermatest. So in the trial, participants use Renu 28 twice daily, morning and evening. And here's a key though, because I think people aren't using enough of this product to get the best benefits that they can. Obviously, we've seen a huge increase in blood flow with what? 4 applications a day, 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening. And we're working on an area of the body that has the least amount of circulation when you think about it. And so what we did is you changed the protocol a little bit. We said, look, we want the women to use enough Renu that it takes 30 to 60 seconds to rub in or to absorb in. You may think, oh, that's not very long. But when you try to use it, that's actually a decent amount of product and a good amount of time. But what do we want to do? We want to saturate the tissues to try to do these things, right? A very small amount of Renu that absorbs almost immediately, it's going to help. But where's it going to help? It's going to help the top layers. But when you want to get down and work on the things deeper in the tissues, this is what we're talking about. So here are the results. Halfway through, wow. Over 16.5% increase in elasticity in the buttocks and the thigh.
Wow.
Okay, good results. But here comes the really good stuff. Over a 12% decrease in the fat length inside of the dermis. Over 10.5% decrease in the fat width or the breadth inside of the dermis. This is into the tissues. And this is all in only 6 weeks. Now I want to make a quick explanation here on what we're going to be looking at in some of these images. I'll come back to the summary. So here's an actual ultrasound image of what we're going to be looking at. So the left side, you see the epidermis, the top of the skin. In the middle, where a lot of the green is the dermis. On the right, the subcutaneous fat. And they're supposed to be separate. A lot of times what happens is as we age, or as women age, the elasticity goes down. And all of a sudden you see some of this fat pushing into the dermis. So what you get is a fat lobule. Okay? These fat lobules then press up on the skin and cause cellulite, or these bumps. So this is what we're going to look at. So let's look at some of these ultrasound images from our participants in the trial. So this is actually from somebody who is using Renu 28. So baseline day 0 is on the left, and if you can see the lines, they're kind of hard to see. It's actually measuring both the top and bottom and the left and right of this fat lobule, and after 6 weeks. And these are phenomenal results. We're going to zoom in just a minute. So that's what we're looking at right there. We're looking at, they're actually measuring the same fat lobule throughout the entire study. And that way they can see exactly what is happening, not on the top of the skin, but way down inside of it. When we zoom in to see it, you can see the results very, very clearly. What you're seeing is the fat going away.
Right.
You can see the tissues coming back in, the greens coming back in, the size is going down. And we have one more to look at that I think is actually even better. So again, 0 and 6 weeks, and then we'll go directly. We're looking at these two areas. Okay, now let's go into the zoom in. So this is day 0 before the study began, and then 6 weeks later.
Wow.
Look at those results, everyone. That is a huge result. So what are we talking about? Again, we're talking about increased elasticity. We're firming up the skin, where we're going to start pressing down on that fat that's pushing up. We're reducing the length and width or the breadth of the fat in the dermal layer that causes cellulite. We're actually approaching this the way the body is supposed to. We're working with the natural processes without doing what? Without causing any inflammation in the skin. Most products today, they want to inflame the skin. They want to create things that'll actually try to force it out and kind of, work against the body's processes or trick it. What we're talking about is actually working with the natural processes. So you guys want to see some before and after pictures?
Sure.
Okay, so one note on this is a scientific trial, okay? These pictures we're going to look at are of women's behinds. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I just want to make sure you guys know that. You're not going to see anything different than what you would see at the beach today. In the US, maybe not in Europe, I don't really know what they do over there. Maybe Torsten knows, I'm sure he does. But, all right, I'll give it to you. Here you go. Here's a baseline before the study began. So you can see the dimpling in the buttocks. You can also see striations and wrinkles and things like that. You can see the dimpling in the back of the leg. After 6 weeks, this is what she looks like.
Whoa. Man.
Phenomenal results. I'm going to keep going because I have 5 participants. So get your cameras ready now. I'm not going to hold on forever. One more question. Another result, baseline, 6 weeks later.
Man.
Okay, I'm moving.
Okay.
2 seconds.
Okay.
Told you, 2 seconds. Baseline. 6 weeks later.
Wow.
Now you guys should get it. You gotta move fast. I love it. Okay, baseline. 6 weeks later. Last participant, who I think actually had the greatest result in this short amount of time. Day 0, and then 6 weeks later.
Whoa. She started out good. Yeah, she did. She had a nice leg.
The amazing thing is this is all happening naturally with the body.